What's up and welcome back to my channel. I'm Diana, creator of Money Boss Mama, and in this video we are going to be talking about the one bank account you need to change the budgeting game. Alright, so I've said many times that I love budgeting with multiple bank accounts, and I created a video all about how I budget with 7 bank accounts. I do have more than 7 now, but I do explain in the video that I will link somewhere on the screen how I actually manage 7 bank accounts with my budget and how it actually makes budgeting a lot easier. And I also know it can sound like a little counterintuitive. You're like, okay, well, how does having 7 bank accounts make budgeting easier? So if that is something that you said to yourself, or you're just currently using one account right now, I suggest using a bills account or setting up a bills account. This literally took my budgeting game to the next level, and I promise you it's gonna make managing your money a whole lot easier. So just as the name suggests, a bills account is an account that is specifically for your bills, and this is super important because you don't want to mix your personal funds with your bill money. If you have everything in one account, I know it's going to be extremely hard to keep up with what part of that balance goes where, and you might wind up using the money that you need for a bill on a non-essential. So whenever that bill comes due, you don't have the money to completely cover it, and that can knock your account into the negative. You'll get an overdraft fee, you'll get a late payment fee or any penalties, and that also affects your credit score because payment history makes up a big component of your credit score. That is really, really important if you want to strengthen and improve your credit score. So when you have a bills account, as in you're separating your money out into a separate account, you have this peace of mind, because if you YOLO a little too much, and let's say like you're left with like $5 left. This was me. I used to be left with like a couple of dollars until payday because I had an emotional spending problem. You have the peace of mind of knowing that your bills account is left untouched. So your bills money has not been affected, which means that you know you're going to have a roof over your head, or when something comes through, you have the money to pay for it. Now, when it comes to which expenses to include in this account, you obviously want to include all of your bills, so your fixed expenses as well as your variable expenses like your electric bill, those expenses that fluctuate based on usage, and any other expenses that you deem to be essential, like that is necessary for living a comfortable life. So you want to include your rent or your mortgage payment, your loan payments, any extra debt payments that you have added in. I see that as essential. Your cell phone plan, your cable Wi-Fi plan. You want to include all of your utilities, so gas, trash, and sewer, things like that. And then this is going to be important because later I'm going to show you guys or explain to you guys how to actually calculate how much you need to put into this bills account and how to make it run on autopilot. Please do not overthink which account is best for your bills account. I tend to get this comment in DM often, like, which is the best bank account? Do not get stuck in analysis paralysis mode. Just honestly look for a free basic checking account that is going to do what it needs to do, make it do what it do. As long as it does not have any monthly fees, you want to make sure to check any transfer limits that it would have, the minimum balance requirement if it has one, and as well as like how much you need to actually open up the account. My bills account is through a local bank that's here in my state, and it is a free basic checking account. And I also want to note, like, the key to this account to really like maximize the benefit of it is to not get a debit card. Do not get a debit card for this account, because the purpose is to have that money sitting there untouched. You are not to touch it for anything. It is to be strictly used for paying your bills. And when you have a debit card, you may be tempted to swipe it, and then you're winding up back in the same situation where your personal funds and your bill money were intertwined, and you are using money unknowingly that belongs to an essential expense. All right, so now comes the good part. How to make this bills account run on its own. I will say I do not do anything manually when it comes to my bills account. I don't manually pay bills. I don't manually add money. It runs on its own, and it is the best feeling ever to know that your bills are being paid and you don't have to worry about, oh, did I pay this, or did I forget to pay this, or did I whatever it is, because that bills account is running on its own. So based on the expenses that you want to include in your bills account, calculate how much you are going to need. So calculate how much each expense is. If it is a fixed expense, which means it's the same amount every single time, obviously that's going to be a lot easier. But if it is a variable expense like your water bill, it fluctuates based on usage, then you're going to have to spend a little bit more time with this, especially if you don't already have a budget. And so you want to take like the last 5 to 6 bills and divide it by the number of bills to get the average. So if you are using the last 5 bills, calculate how much those last 5 bills were all together and then divide it by 5 in order to get the average. And you want to add a buffer. So I purposely overshoot when it comes to the variable expenses because we all know one month may be up, one month may be down, and so depending on the average, I would add an extra $20 to $30. Overshooting is important for keeping this bills account balance at a safe amount, and I'm going to use how I do it as an example. So for my variable expenses, I overshoot, obviously, and so like with my electric bill is normally about $96, $98 to maybe $110, but I purposely budget $125. I added a buffer of like $30 to my average amount to get that amount. And so my last electric bill was $96. This is about $25 under what I budgeted for. So what's happening every single month is this amount, this little buffer, is growing. And so the previous month before that, my electric bill was about $18 under budget. And so I have $25 plus $18. You can see it grows every single month. And so I have amounts in there that are unused. It's like a safety net, a buffer in this bills account. And it didn't require me to make any extra contributions. And so if I have an electric bill that's maybe $145, so it's about $20 over budget, I don't stress. I don't have to go in and rework any numbers because that amount is going to be absorbed by the safety net or the overage that I have calculated. And now you can keep up with your buffer. I recommend that. Mine is about at $800, so I don't keep up with it anymore. It is not in the norm for me to be over budget. I'm normally under budget with my variable expenses. And so I just have that peace of mind of knowing I have an $800 buffer, and that keeps my bills account at about a $2,000 balance at all times. And another reason why it is at a $2,000 balance at all times is because with my third paycheck, so the extra paycheck that we get maybe like 2 months out of the year, I take the amount that I need for my bills account. So I keep it the same. I don't adjust anything. I just let that extra amount of money that's pulled from each paycheck sit in that account, and this way if something happens, I know that I have a good safety net in my bills account and I don't have to worry about it falling underneath a safe amount. But anyway, back to how to get this account set up and running on its own. So when you calculate how much you are needing every single month for all of your expenses, based on the frequency of how you want to budget, you need to determine how much you need to direct deposit into this account. And using myself as an example, again, I am paid every 2 weeks and I use what's called a half payment method, which means I am dividing this amount evenly between the 2 paychecks. Now, if you want to go this route, I do recommend adding a little bit more so you have a buffer, just so your account is not going under a safe amount. So you want to add, I would say, at least half of the amount that you need extra to that account to get this started. I did this with my 3rd paychecks unknowingly a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and that's how it worked for me. But if you want to start doing that, I recommend adding half of the amount that you are needing with the remaining amount. So basically a full month's worth into the account when you get started. Or if you don't want to divide it evenly, depending on how many times you get paid a month. So if you get paid twice a month but you don't want to divide it evenly, then you need to determine how much it is that you need to set aside from each paycheck. If you need to set aside $800 from the first paycheck of the month, and then the second half of the month you need to set aside $300, then you want to get that set up as a direct deposit. Now, if you want to set up direct deposit through your employer, you're probably going to need to divide the amount you need each month between paychecks. So if you don't want to go this route, most banks offer what's called an automatic transfer free of charge. So you'll go into your online banking, schedule an automatic transfer that's going to happen at whatever frequency you want it to happen. So every payday, you include the amount that's needing to be transferred out, as well as when that transfer should start. And so you can have this specific amount that you'll need direct deposited into an account of your choice, or just have everything direct deposited from your employer into one specific account. And then from that account to your bills account, transfer out what you are going to need from that paycheck to cover your expenses. So set up an automatic transfer through your bank, and then you know your deposits are going to be made automatically into this account. And then when it comes to actually paying your bills, you will set up auto pay or an automatic payment. Most service providers do offer this option through their website. It will clearly say auto pay or automatic payment. So you will set up your bank information, and then you will give them permission to take the amount that the bill will be from that bank account. And this way, money is coming in automatically and money is going out automatically, and you don't have to do anything manually. I've been doing this for years. It is like the best thing ever. It makes sticking to my budget a lot easier, because I know in my budget I have this amount for each specific expense, and that is what is to be paid, and whatever it is that I come under budget is just going to be left in my bills account to help build up that buffer. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you have any additional questions about a bills account or how you have your bills account set up, and I will catch you guys in the next one.